Okay, so I'm working on my Moto Guzzi Ambassador's engine. I've come to the point where I'm starting to dig into the kind of taking apart the bottom end, hopefully eventually get to the top end. But you run into the scenario where you have both the nut on the camshaft and you actually have the bolts on the rear flywheel, and you have the bolt on the oil pump. As you can tell right there, there is your 6 bolts that hold on the flywheel on the back of the main bearing of the Moto Guzzi 750 motor. The manual states you must purchase a Moto Guzzi tool to grab into the ring gear teeth on the back of the flywheel in order to hold it. And I'm sure I could get the tool or make one or fabricate one, to match up the ring gear. But me being cheap, and I thought I would show a trick that I've actually used on a couple other different bikes, including my Honda V4s that I've actually used to undo the starter clutch. And this is the 1 cent removal tool in order to lock up the crankshaft to remove stubborn nuts. Because, in fact, if you try twisting on any of these nuts here, either on the flywheel, camshaft, oil pump, if you try twisting any of those, you're going to turn the crankshaft, especially when you still have a nicely lubricated top end on it. Even with compression, she is still going to fight you. With the main flywheel bolts, and I should say the ring gear bolts, these are pretty easy. Since they're so far out from the center, you can actually use your wrench, like your regular socket wrench, just a regular 3/8 socket wrench. And instead of trying to, when you remove these nuts, see how you got the leverage out there? Well, that'll just turn your engine. A trick I learned. So you can counteract the motor's movement by putting your socket wrench like in this position, where you're going right across the diameter, and it kind of works against itself. That's how you get those undone. If they're not seized or anything, of course. But, of course, with, like I pointed out, the flywheel bolts on the opposite side, those are very close, and you're basically turning the crankshaft as soon as you put any torque on there, or the camshaft, or the crank, or the oil pump. And this is understanding if you've already, removed your V-belt pulley and your center shaft that the pulley rides on. And of course that can be removed with the bike still in the frame by, putting it in top gear, and then, stomping on the brake and sticking your breaker bar before you remove the engine from the bike. So that's understanding that you've taken that off already, because that could be a chore in itself. But like I said, if you take it off in the bike, you're fine. But anyways, theoretically, I guess you could do all these bolts, especially the front end, with the bike still in the frame. But of course, you're dealing with exposed engine internals, and where I'm sitting in my little workshop here, spare bedroom, that's not optimum to have, exposed engine parts while outside doing that. Maybe acceptable in a garage, but even then, there's a lot of particulates in garage, sawdust, shop dust, metal shavings, all the usual. But anyways, this is the 1 cent removal tool. 1 cent, that's all it cost me. I think it was in 1979 Delaware. A penny. And why we use a penny is that it's soft, it's thin, you can stick it in between the gears. It will not ruin the hardened finish on the gears. It will absolutely not. In fact, I've already used it to get the rear ones all undone, and you can actually see where it actually, the copper and zinc is actually malleable, very malleable compared to those hardened gears, and it actually mangled the penny a little bit. So that's what you want to see. I'll gladly sacrifice a penny for this. So anyways, you can do this for all the bolts, flywheel bolts, you can do it for the camshaft, you can do it for oil pump. So anyways, you just kind of, you can see that, just kind of stick it into gear. Now this is the kind of the hard part, I guess. But I suppose if you're going to undo the camshaft, you put it right there. And, you know, you put it right in there. It doesn't want to cooperate with me. Sometimes you can get them to stick. But anyways, you know, let's see here. Well, I guess for an example, I can do the oil pump. Right here. Is this a 14 or is this... No, that is a 13. Seems like Moto Guzzi, for the most part, they're very, you know, Italian. You know, they use 13mm for most things, whereas the Japanese use 14. But every once in a while you run into a 14, like the flywheel bolts in the back. Those are 14. But anyways, we'll see what happens. Okay, I got a regular second wrench on here. See how I turn the engine right over? Ugh, that's nuts. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. So you can see which direction the camshaft goes. And you really want to avoid, at least I would avoid putting the penny right on the oil pump gear, because I really don't know how tough that casting is in the back. And you really don't want, you know, this does put a little bit of axial force on, you know, the crankshaft that you're turning on. So I would keep it all in between, you know, your timing gears right there. So I'll kind of push down a little bit. Oh, there we go. See the penny stuck in there, and look at that. We pop that loose. Ta-da! So there's that one. Anyways, so now the camshaft bolts. And see, this is not that hard. I'm using one camera, you know, one hand film. There's your 26mm. It's pretty common on the Moto Guzzi. So anyways, we'll grab my big 1/2-inch breaker bar. There we go. Yeah, let me get this situated here. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely gonna... See that? That is just... that rotates pretty darn easily there. So anyways... So yeah, I mean, here, you know, hear a little bit of compression coming out there. But yeah, that compression is not even gonna hold that. So, we get our handy dandy penny. And this is gonna be the trick. Just bear with me for a second. I get the penny all situated in here. There we go. Got some tension on it. So there you go. You see that penny puller tool? And just for the sake of video, it will work. I guarantee it. But I need 2 hands to hold the breaker bar. So hopefully this helps. You can use this as multiple engines, whether you're working on an old like Wisconsin D4 or you're working on a Honda motorcycle, or really anything that you have easy access, you know, primary gears, or regardless of what you're working on, you know, if you have access to gears, they can mesh and they can take the small amount of axial force of jamming those gears up. It'll work on anything. So no need for special, you know, flywheel tools or jigs or anything crazy, any kind of contraption if you have a similar scenario to this. But hopefully this helps, and it sure has helped me over the years. Saved me a lot of money, and it gets the job done. So, hopefully this helps, and take care. Bye, all.